My name is Fant Smith. I am in the 8th grade at Central Magnet School, and I am the senior patrol leader of Troop 1108, based at St. Paul's Episcopal Church here in Murfreesboro. Thank you to the Boy Scouts for inviting me to be here. I'd like to share with you some things I've learned about leadership during my time in Scouting. I've learned that leadership can be delivered in a variety of ways. Some people respond to one style, while others respond to a totally different style. Different individuals in Scouts need to be led in different ways. Some Scouts need to be led somewhat directly, and others need to be nurtured. The key to being successful as a leader is to find out how each Scout responds to leadership. The wrong leadership tactic can discourage any Scout. Scouting has taught me how to figure this out throughout many different camping experiences. One key thing that has helped me learn to lead is how to instruct people to go certain places to do activities during troop meetings. If the wrong message is sent, it will cause the troop to be tough to instruct throughout the entire meeting. One of the necessary skills to be a good leader is the ability to be a strong leader without bullying. One of the things I try to use is the pull method as opposed to the push method. I find it is easier to show the Scouts the way rather than point the way. The push method is pushing a Scout away to go and do work that they potentially do not understand how to do. The push method can lead to a Scout becoming frustrated throughout a task, while the pull method can motivate a Scout and confirm that they know how to do the job correctly. Showing the Scout that I'm willing to work alongside him is a great leadership example. Identifying talents within the troop makes the troop work better as a whole. Similar to different leadership tactics, each different individual brings different talents to the table. Troop tasks properly assigned will then be done with maximum efficiency. Scouts given the wrong job are potentially unqualified, inexperienced, or unconfident in their ability to do the job. A team designed with people with the correct talents for their jobs can be much more efficient than a team with people randomly placed into jobs. Sometimes people choose their job because they believe one job is harder than another. Often, the remaining jobs are passed off to Scouts who are unable to complete the task. Next, it turns into a dilemma of switching jobs when people could have been assigned the appropriate job initially. I've learned a lot in my time in Scouting about leading all sorts of personalities. And while I don't have it all figured out, I'm enjoying working with these guys and gaining this experience. This luncheon is fantastic because it benefits Scouting in so many ways. One of the places benefited is Latimer Reservation near Fall Creek Falls. Our Scout troop recently visited Latimer and had a great time. We rappelled and mountain biked and cooked on the reservation throughout the weekend. An extremely memorable experience was rappelling. Our troop had 25 guys that were eligible to rappel. The first 22 had relatively no trouble descending the 75-foot rock face, but 3 guys were hesitant once we saw them move. 2 of the last 3 were able to go after being led just a little bit more than the rest of the group. Then it was down to the last guy. This guy had spoken to me before the trip about his fear of heights, and I knew he would take longer than everyone else to go. He looked over the edge, and then he would repeatedly back off. Finally, after quite a few minutes of everyone watching this guy try and take his first step, he was able to rappel. Once he reached the bottom and I saw him, I was so happy to say, "Dad, I'm so proud of you. I can't believe you did it." Thank you for supporting me.
Good afternoon. It's an honor to be up here to share a little bit of my experience as being a Boy Scout at Troop 398. My name's Connor Irvin, for you who don't know me. My scouting journey started in 1st grade when I joined my school's Cub Scout pack. And honestly, 1st grade me thought Cub Scouts just consisted of building model race cars and rolling them down a ramp, though I quickly learned that Cub Scouts offered much more. As a Cub Scout, I was introduced to camping, hiking, and canoeing, all of which by the time I gained my Arrow of Flight, which is Cub Scouts' highest award, I thought I became pretty good at. After Cub Scouts, I crossed over to Boy Scouts. and I figured it was going to be about the same as Cub Scouts, but just being around older boys. Oh man, was I wrong. Within a few weeks of joining Troop 398, it was announced we'd be going on a backpacking trip. I was very excited, because this would be my first backpacking trip with the Scout Troop. I let my mom know that I needed to pack, which at that time was code for Mom, pack my bag. Well, time went on, and my bag didn't get packed. And sooner or later, it happened to be the day before the trip, and I went downstairs and I was like, Mom, can you help me pack my bag? And she was like, no, you're a Boy Scout now, you need to pack your own bag. So I did so, and I showed up the next morning and my bag was stuffed with everything but the kitchen sink, pretty much. And so we went over to the trailhead and we started hiking, and it ended up being a really hard trail because my backpack was so full and heavy, and I was young at the time, so I couldn't really handle too much. And so I realized at that moment, especially after the hiking guide was over with, that I'm a big boy now, and so I need to learn from other people how to pack my own bag. And so the next scout meeting, I talked to Tom Snell, who was a great leader in our scout troop before he passed away, and he kind of taught me what I needed to pack and how to pack it and whatnot, and so that really helped me out next time I went backpacking. And it's been like that ever since. I can always go to my adult leaders and to my fellow scouts and ask them for advice whenever I need it, because they're there for me, and I really appreciated that too. And so that really set the tone for the next few years. I really started to listening better, and I started to become a better follower. And so when it did become time for me to get first class, that's kind of the rank where you start to take more leadership roles. I felt like I was ready, but I thought it would be a lot much easier than what it actually ended up being. Being a leader is much harder than expected. You have to compromise with people, and you have to convince them and to follow your agenda. And it's still a skill that I'm trying to learn today. But I'm really grateful for the scouting program and for it to allow me to practice my leadership skills. And I appreciate you letting me come up today and talk to you. And I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Hi, my name is Danielle Peugeot, president of Cur 197. I was asked to come and speak today by my crew leader, Tony Love, about why I love scouting so much. I come from a long line of scouting. My older brother is an Eagle Scout, and my little brother is a first-class scout. My family has always supported scouting, and from a young age, we were taught that it is extremely important to give back to a community that gives to us. Contributing to my community and giving service through scouting allows me to participate in activities that I love, such as rappelling, hiking, canoeing, and going on weekend trips, such as the weekend trip we took to Missouri. That had been my favorite trip we had taken so far, because it had so many fun activities to participate in. My favorite, though, was the STEM program. STEM stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics. This program allowed me and my crewmate, Lindsay, to design a propeller that was produced with a 3D printer. There were approximately 500 people who entered the event. However, me and my crewmate beat the boys and came out on top. Another extremely important thing I was taught when I was younger was that it's better to be a leader rather than a follower. This past summer, I had the extraordinary chance to participate at National Youth Leadership Training, or NYLT, at Vladimir High Adventure Reservation. This summer, I get the chance to advance my leadership skills at National Advanced Youth Leadership Experience, or NAIL, in Ely, Minnesota. I had the opportunity to pick between 4 different bases, but I chose to go to NAIL at Ely because their specialty is canoeing on the Boundary Waters. I also heard how amazing it was for my older brother, and it sounded like a ton of In the end, I would like for all of you to know that if it was not for Scouting, I would not have had the opportunities I have been given. Most kids my age will not have the same opportunities that I am fortunate enough to have. This is all due to the fact that my parents have always strongly supported Scouting. With this strong Scouting support, my younger sister, who is now 11 years old, continuously observes the activities I participate in. She is looking forward to when she turns 14 to join venturing for herself. Thank you for your time and support.